Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Shall we begin?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Nam Nishta Prabhu Dandavat Pranam Vanchakapa Trubhya Shtaka Pashan Vibhava Shapati to Nam Bhavana Vashan. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jitapada Kamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Sri Rupam Sagadajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Shajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Shaitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shibishakam Vitam Shcha Mantra Guru Ajota Shika Guru Ganta Charane Age Gaudiya Bandhan Vansha Kopa Trubhish Chakapashan Labeba Cha Patitanam Pavaneba Vaishnava Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachani Nivishesha Shanvari Pashchatta Deshatarane Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gauravakta Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachani Nivishesha Shanvari Pashchatta Deshatarane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasya Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Over the last few days, we have celebrated some very special programs, very special events. We celebrated Pandava Nirjala Kadashi Din a few days ago, and then the day after that was the chida-dahi Mahotsav festival, where Lord Netaji Prabhu bestowed his extraordinary mercy upon Raghunath Das Goswami, and yesterday was Snan Yatra. Yesterday's Snan Yatra festival, a big festival. They're all festivals here in Snan Yatra, we have in Rajapur. It's a Jagannath Puri festival, Snan Yatra. And where Lord is going to Anabarsha Shamoy, where he's retiring for 2 weeks now. And then after 2 weeks, we'll have Rath Yatra Mahotsav, which goes for 10 days, 9 days. So we're discussing today this very special event of the chida-dahi Mahotsav, where Lord Netaji bestowed his mercy upon Raghunath Das Goswami. Now, Raghunath Das Goswami, he's one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. Echai Goshai Javi Braja Koilavash Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. And this Lila we're hearing today is whilst he's in Bengal. Adi Shaptagram was his residence. You can visit that place. We have visited the residence, the family ancestral home of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. We have visited that place. It's in Adi Shaptagram. It's about two hours from Mayapur. If you come sometime, we can go and visit. This is the whole chapter of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, is Anta Lila, chapter 6, Mahaprabhu's meeting with Raghunath Das Goswami. We'll discuss the event at Panihati, the event which happened at Panihati, and then subsequently to that, Raghunath Das Goswami, he went to Jagannath Puri, he attained the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's departure, Raghunath Das Goswami, he went to Vrindavan and he resided for many years in Radha Kund. Now, when you go to Radha Kund, you will see the Bhajan Kutir, the Samadhi of Raghunath Das Goswami, you'll see there, and the Nitya Kirtan, the Akhandita Kirtan is going on there, a 24-hour Kirtan constantly. Some Vaishnav are there managing that ashram where the Samadhi of Raghunath Das Goswami is, and you can visit that place. And so in Vrindavan, he resided on the banks of Radha Kund. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Karila Prakash, he wrote literatures, he revealed the glories of Radha Krishna Lila in Vrindavan. And then eventually, when Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, he's also from that area, actually, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, Jametpur. It's also near, not far from Adi Saptagram. And Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, he went to Vrindavan, and there he heard from Raghunath Das Goswami, all of Mahaprabhu's detailed pastimes in Jagannath Puri. We'll come to that a little bit more when we get to the end of the section we'll discuss today. So Raghunath Das Goswami, a very important member of our Sampradaya, and he's discussed in many occasions, in many leelas, many instances, Raghunath Das Goswami is discussed in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. So today we're reading from the Antya Lila, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, is chapter 6. I'm beginning at text 12. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaur Bhakta. Hey Motto, Bira Hey Gaur Lai Bhaktagon, Raghunath Milan Ebe Ushuno Bhaktagon, Raghunath Milan Ebe Ushuno Bhaktagon. Now here, about the meeting of Raghunath Das Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the purports, Srila Prabhupada is describing who is Raghunath Das Goswami. Now, he's the son of Hiranya Majumdar. He's the son of Govardhan Majumdar, who is the elder brother of Hiranya Majumdar. Now, these two aristocratic Kayasta Vaishnavas, they were very, very, very wealthy landholders, very, very wealthy. And when you visit his ancestral home, you'll see it's a huge property, a big pukur and everything. They're very wealthy. And they were actually, they were providing for, they were maintaining, they were supporting so many Brahmin Vaishnavas throughout the entire Bengal. In fact, they were very dear to Srila Advaita Acharya, and they were supporting Srila Advaita Acharya, and they were regularly associating with Srila Advaita Acharya and Haridas Thakur. And it was for that reason that because of the connection that they had to Advaita Acharya, who was the most prominent Vaishnava Brahmin in Bengal. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we've discussed in these sessions on an earlier occasion, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the attempt to go to Vrindavan, that's chapter 16, 17 of Madhya Kanda, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the attempt, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's attempt to go to Vrindavan. I want to go to Vrindavan via Bengal, Mahaprabhu explained to Ramananda Roy and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And that's a very wonderful Lila Mahaprabhu traveling through Bengal, distributing love of Godhead, so many people becoming enamored, developing prema just by seeing him in his kirtan. He came back through Navadip, the other side of the river, Koladeep, Kuliagram, and all of the offenders, Devananda Pandit, Gopal Chapal, they all went and they were all delivered in Kulia, the other side of the Ganga. Mahaprabhu traveled. It went all the way along the banks of the Ganga up to Ramkeli, the capital of Bengal, gold, and they met with Rupa and Sanatana Goswami and inspired them. They were employed by the Nawab Hussain Shah, governor of Bengal. His eternal Judge Hoite Domanam Rupshanaton, Danna Charatamadana, Fite Mormona. He initiated them and he reminded them that you're my eternal servants. And quickly they extricated themselves from the service of the Nawab and they went to Vrindavan, Rupa and Sanatana, shortly after that meeting. That's all described in different sections of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and Madhya Lila. And then in Kanai Shala, actually, I was just there a few weeks ago. In Bangladesh side, and the other side was Kanai Shala. Mahaprabhu visited on several occasions. He visited there, and then he went and took bath in Padma River and left the love of Godhead for Narottam Thakur Mahashai. So Kanai Shala. So in Ramkeli Mahaprabhu, Sanatana Goswami said that this is not the appropriate way to go to Vrindavan with thousands and thousands of followers. And Mahaprabhu, he reached Kanai Shala and meditating on Sanatana Goswami's instruction or suggestion. He thought it was a good idea, and he decided not to go to Vrindavan with such a huge crowd. And then so he returned. So on his return, he again went through Bengal on banks of Maganga, and again Kuliagram, and again Shantipur before entering Odisha. And at that time, he stayed in Shantipur for a week. And at that time, Raghunath Das Goswami, who was young, he was serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was there. He was in the house of Advaita Acharya. He was, because of his father, who was a great friend of Advaita Acharya. So Raghunath Das Goswami, he was a young man. He was able to serve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for that 7-day period. And Purabeg means that time when Mahaprabhu was returning to Puri from Ramkeli. Shantipure, Raghunath Jabe Aila, Mahaprabhu Kripa Kori, Tare Ushikaila. Mahaprabhu, he instructed Raghunath Das Goswami at that time, showed mercy upon him, and he instructed him that because he was a young man and he was very much enthused about Krishna consciousness, and so he wanted to simply give up everything and be with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even at that time. And Mahaprabhu at that time, he instructed him, Prabhu Shikaite Teho, Niju Gore Jai. You go home, Mahaprabhu instructed him, you go home, Niju Gore Jai, Markata Baragya Chari, Hoilo Bishai Prai. You give up this Markata Baragya. The Markata Baragya is a monkey renunciation. There's different types of renunciation, Falgun Baragya, Jukta Baragya. So they're described in another place, perhaps we can discuss different 7 types of renunciation. One of them is Markata Vairagya, which is like the Vairagya of the Vairagya. Vairagya means renunciation, detachment of the monkeys. So monkeys are very detached. They don't even have clothes. They don't have clothes. They just go from tree to tree, eat the fruits that are available. So they're very detached. And they have, however, they're attached to the female monkeys. There are many of them. One male monkey will have many female monkey associates. So they're not Vairagis at all. They're bogis, they're enjoyers, but they look like Vairagis because they have no clothes and they just live in the trees. So the monkey Vairagya. So don't make a show of renunciation. Mahaprabhu in this way, he's instructing Raghunath Das Goswami, don't make a show of renunciation. It's not uncommon in a young man, actually. Young man, they come to become inspired about spiritual life. Immediately, they want to become a sannyasi. Give up and become a sannyasi. So sannyasi is a public presentation of spiritual leadership and renunciation. So it's a very public position. And ashram, the sannyas ashram. So everyone sees, it carries a danda, everyone sees. And so actually, Mahaprabhu is instructing Raghunath Das Goswami here that renunciation is not about appearances. It's not simply carrying the danda and having the saffron cloth. That it's not actually the be-all and end-all of renunciation. That's external, but renunciation is actually on the internal platform. So in this way, Mahaprabhu in instructing my Vishai Pray that externally you look like externally just be like a materialistic person. And you go home and you perform your duties in this way. Vishai Pray ta Poriched Shab Chintana Parikeyo Shaita Vaishnava Pundarik Vidyanidhi Mahadai. We discussed in a previous occasion that Vishai Pray ta Poriched Shab. He actually purposely appeared like a materialistic person so that he wouldn't get respect and honor from the people in general. He didn't want that. He was not inclined to being respected and this public position of worship and prestige. He didn't want that. So Bishai Praita Porichet Shab, he appeared like a materialistic person. And even Gadadhar Pandit was confused and was thinking that he was a materialistic person. So renunciation is actually exists in an internal platform, one's consciousness. Yoginam api shamadgatena anta atmana shadavan bhajate jomam shame jukta uttam mataha. In the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the concluding section of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is explaining this, that Yoginam api sharvesham, of all the mystics, Yoginam api sharvesham, of all the yogis, of all the transcendentalists, of all of those who are trying to connect with me, Yoginam api mad gatena antar atmana, those who abide by me, antar atmana, under within the heart, antar within, antar atmana, they surrender to me internally. They give themselves to me internally. They give their heart. Madgatena antar atmana, madgatena, they surrender to me. They accept my path, antar atmana, internally, within, with their heart. They surrender their heart to me. Externally, you can appear like any situation. But internally, they've given their heart out of love. Shraddhavan bhajate jomam. Shame jukta uttam. Krishna says is the most intimately united to me, the highest. So it's the internal. That's what matters. So now, Kaviraj Goswami, he's going to explain how Raghunath Das Goswami was Bishai Prai, like an ordinary materialist, because he goes on to explain that Raghunath's uncle, Hiranya Majumdar, he was employed by the government as a tax collector, but having taken that service, one Chaudhary, Muslim Chaudhary, he actually lost that post, and so he became upset and lost a lot of income. And so that Chaudhary, he came to the village of Shaptagram, where Haranya and Govardhan Majumdar were the land holders and were collecting the tax, and he wanted to get some money from Haranya Majumdar. And Haranya Majumdar wasn't there; not at home. He'd gone away for some days. So that Chaudhary, he arrested Raghunath Das. And every day he would with words he would punish, he would terrorize Raghunath Das, speaking, and he wanted to physically beat Raghunath Das, but seeing the face of Raghunath Das, he was unable to do that. But he was saying that, bring your father and elder brother. And he was chastising Raghunath Das in this way. Now, Raghunath Das Goswami, he managed everything so perfectly. This is an example of that Bishai Prai, how he, just like a materialistic person, he organized everything. Firstly, he spoke to that Chaudhary, explaining, appreciating him and explaining how you're just like you're like my uncle and my father and my other, and you're like brothers. And so brothers sometimes argue, but I'm sure that everything can be resolved. And the Chaudhary said, you bring your brother, you bring your uncle, and you arrange the meeting. So he arranged the meeting. Raghunath Das went and arranged everything. He's like a mediator. He arranged the meeting. And in this way, everything was coordinated nicely, and the Chaudhary was satisfied and everyone was peaceful. So in this way, what an excellent, ordinary, materialistic, dutiful householder he became. Kaviraj Goswami is explaining by that particular incident. He was very expert. He wasn't a marketa baragi, just constantly making a show of renunciation, not being able to practically do any of the duties that householder is required to do. That's the lesson here. Householders shouldn't, those in household life, they shouldn't try to imitate the sannyasi. Shouldn't try to imitate the sannyasis and brahmacharis, follow their duties. No, they do the householder duties in Krishna consciousness. And in that way, they'll gradually progress. Hey, Motto, Raghunath, Botchore Gelo, Ditya Botchore, Pai Temon Koilo. So for a year, Mahaprabhu returned from Malda, from Gaur, from Ramkeli, and that time he met with Raghunath Das. His name was Raghunath Das at that time also. And later his name becomes Raghunath Das Goswami, but his name was Raghunath Das from before that. And Mahaprabhu instructed him to just be like an ordinary materialistic person, not make a show of renunciation, and he did that for a year. So we know that Mahaprabhu, he endeavored to go to Vrindavan for many times. Eventually, that first attempt, he went to Ramkeli, came back, and then he remained a few months in Jagannath Puri with the devotees. He remained a few months, and then he went to Vrindavan through Jharikant, and that's all described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. He went to Vrindavan. And so, he went to Vrindavan and then returned. So Mahaprabhu, he was in Vrindavan not such a long time. So the journey to Vrindavan and then coming back to Jagannath Puri, about 2 years. About 2 years. So he returned. So now Raghunath Das, after Mahaprabhu had gone to Vrindavan and then returned to Puri, and so he heard. Raghunath Das had heard that Mahaprabhu has again come back to Jagannath Puri. And at that time, after spending some time, about a year or so, in Adi Shaptagram as an ideal householder. And then, Ditya Botsare, 2 years later, after he met with Mahaprabhu, the second year, Mahaprabhu has returned now from Vrindavan and is back in Puri. So then, Palaite Mon Koilo, he's to escape. Again, when he first met, he was thinking about giving up everything and going. Mahaprabhu said, "You just be like you go home, cultivate Krishna consciousness internally, and you give up this external renunciation." So he did that for a year or two, and then, having heard that Mahaprabhu had actually returned to Jagannath Puri, then again he's desiring. He's again overwhelmed with his desire to join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So. Almost every night, he would try and escape home. Try and escape every night. And it's a daily affair, Kaviraj Goswami is explaining. And then he'd run away from home, and his father, they would send men to find him and bring him back. This is almost a daily affair. Can you imagine such a person that every day, every night, almost they're trying to escape home, they're running away? And his father is sending 10 men to find him and bring him back. This is happening almost every night. This is his such a desire to participate in Krishna consciousness. Raghunath Das. Even his mother, the wife of Govardhan Majumdar, she said that we should tie him up with ropes. Should tie him with ropes. He's become mad. We should tie him up with ropes. Sometimes we hear such things happen in these places. People, they're kept imprisoned at home with chains or something. Anyway, here was a time with ropes. Indra Shama Arshaja Stri Apsharasham. Govardhan Majumdar, he's responding that this Raghunath, his Indra Shama Ashar, his wealth, like that of Lord Indra. Stri Apsara Shama, his wife is as beautiful as Apsara. He's as wealthy as Indra. His wife is as beautiful as an Apsara. Aishab, Bandite Narileka Jar Monda. Even these things were unable to keep him at home. A wife as beautiful as the heavenly Apsara. and riches like that of Lord Indra. Even having these things, he wasn't interested in household life. Well, what would be the use of tying him with ropes? Even a beautiful wife and unlimited wealth were unable to keep him at home and keep him. What could rope do? What could rope do? So at that time, Nityananda Prabhu had come to Panihati. Now, Nityananda Prabhu, we know he preaches in Bengal. He preaches in Bengal. The devotees were coming every year to Jagannath Puri to meet with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And one time, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he ordered Lord Nityananda not to come every year to Jagannath Puri. Nityananda agya dilo jao gauda deshe, anar prema bhakti korho prakasha. You go to Bengal and there you, without restriction, you distribute prema bhakti, love of Godhead. So Nityananda Prabhu, he was fulfilling the request that Nityananda agya dilo, the order that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had given him. And Nityananda Prabhu was preaching all through Bengal, or Pashchim Bengal. And Purva Bengal Bhumi also, Nityananda Prabhu preached in Bangladesh and West Bengal. It's Bengal Bhumi, go to Desh. Go to Nityananda Agya Dila Jao, go to Deshe, go to Bengal. On our God, Prema Bhakti Kodaho Prakasha. And without restriction, on our God, Prema Bhakti Kodaho Prakasha, you distribute love of Godhead. So following the orders of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu was wandering throughout Bengal, preaching Krishna consciousness. He had associates who will hear who they are shortly. Panihati Grame, Pailo Prabhu, Darshan, Kirtaniya, Shevak, Shange, Ar, Bahutjon. So he heard he was in Panihati and he went there. Panihati and Shanti and Adi Shaptagram, they're not very far away, actually. Panihati and Adi Shaptagram, they're not very far, not far from Kolkata, both places. So he went to Panihati on the banks of Ganga. Mahaprabhu had visited that place many occasions. When he, coming from Orissa and entering into Bengal, we heard that when local Mughal king, he became Mahaprabhu's devotee. He arranged boats and he traveled with Mahaprabhu through the area where there were many pirates. There was a war between Bengal and Orissa at the time. So that regional leader, Mughal governor, king, he became Mahaprabhu's devotee. And he arranged boats and he personally took Mahaprabhu along the river and brought him to almost Panihati. And Mahaprabhu, in this way, he visited Panihati on several occasions, traveling to Ramkeli, returning to Ramkeli. And Nityananda Prabhu also regularly visited Panihati. So Panihati Grame Pailu Prabhu Darshan, Raghunath Das, he saw Nityananda in Panihati, Kirtaniya Shebak Shange Arba Hujon. And Nityananda Prabhu, he was accompanied by Kirtaniya, Shebak, the servants, Shankirtaniya Shebak Shange Arba Hujon, and so many followers, so many people were accompanying Lord Nityananda as he was preaching. Ganga Tira Brikamule, Pindara Upore. On the banks of the Ganga Tira, Brikamule, and at the base of a tree, Pindar Upare, on a platform. When you go to Panihati, you can still see that tree, that platform, that's still there. And there's the ghat there, Gauranga Ghat, and that tree is there and the platform is there. There's a temple there. It's a Gonidai worshipped by some Vaishnava Babajis. And just next to that is ISKCON. We have our ISKCON property there, a temple established by Nitya Pravishta Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj. A wonderful project there. So Lord Nityananda, he's sitting under the tree at that place on the banks of the Ganga, on the platform. Sometimes you see the tree, the tree, and the nice platform. You can sit in the shade. Ganga tire brikamole pindaru pare boshi achen genokoti shujo dai kore, like koti suju dai, like 10 million rising moons was the brilliance of Lord Nityananda as he sat underneath that tree with his associates. Raghunath Das was astonished. He was astonished to see the effulgence of Lord Nityananda. Raghunath Das had met with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and also at that time, Nityananda Prabhu was also present. Nityananda Prabhu was also present when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traveling to Ram Kelly, Nityananda Prabhu accompanied him from Jagannath Puri all the way, Haridas Thakur, other associates, and also they returned with Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, they all returned. So he was there also in Shantipur when Raghunath Das had spent time with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now he comes and he sees Lord Nityananda from at a distant place. He's following prostrate. Raghunath Das, he's offering his obeisances at a distant place. And one of the servants of Lord Nityananda, he saw Raghunath Das paying his obeisances at that distant place, and he informed Nityananda Prabhu that, oh, there is Raghunath offering you obeisances. They already knew him. There is Raghunath. They knew his name. They knew who he was. Of course, he's an extraordinary person because he was very wealthy. Raghunath is a very wealthy person. He was the sole inheritor of the fortune of both his father and uncle. His uncle had no child. So the two brothers, they were the landholders, Adi Shaptagram. They had so much property. And only one son, Raghunath Das. So he was a very wealthy, very young man, very wealthy, very influential young man. So the servant he saw many people. It says Bahujan. He was surrounding Nityananda Prabhu with his Kirtaniya Shevak, our Bahujan, his Kirtaniyas, his Sevaks, and there's so many other people. There's a big crowd. Obviously, there's a big crowd wherever Lord Nityananda is traveling and preaching. There's a big crowd. And still, they noticed Raghunath Das in that crowd. And then the servant said, there is Raghunath offering your obeisances. Shune Prabhu Kohe, Chor Dilo Darshan. Nityananda Prabhu, he heard that. He said, oh, the thief is come to see us. The thief has come to see us. Come, Aj Tor Korimu Dhondon. Today I will punish you. Today I will punish you. It's very significant. It's very philosophically significant what Nityananda Prabhu is saying here. It's very metaphorical. He's speaking in a metaphorical way. Here is the thief. Come today, I will punish you. Well, what's all that about? We'll explain in this Leela. And then the Lord called Raghunath Das and came, and the Lord and Lord Nityananda, he placed his lotus feet. So although he's saying he's the thief and I'm going to punish you, this is like joking. It's like joking. He puts his lotus feet on the head of Raghunath Das Goswami. He wants to be very merciful to Raghunath Das Goswami, and this is the style of Lord Nityananda. You're a thief, I will punish you. And what is that punishment? Why is that punishment? How is he a thief? Perhaps we'll answer that question in the end. Why? How is he a thief? And what is this punishment all about? Nityananda says, Lord Nityananda says, Dahi, Chira, Bhakhan, Koraha, Morgane. This is the punishment. That Dahi, yogurt, and Chira is chip rice. Chip rice is flattened chip rice. You can buy it, it's dried out chip rice. You don't need to cook it, you can just soak it. And then you can honor that. It's called chida. You can take it raw also just as it is, so you can soak it. So immediately he says, Dadi, chida, vakana, koraho morgane. Why those things? Well, Nityananda Prabhu is not mentioned before. In fact, it's the first time we're hearing of such a thing. And it's the only time we hear of such a festival. It's not like it's a common thing to make this preparation. Nityananda Prabhu particularly likes this. He wants it to be offered on this day. It's not that we regularly see this preparation offered. So it's peculiar. It's very specific. Lord Nityananda is a lila. It's a lila. And he's arranging this lila through Raghunath Das Goswami in order to bestow mercy on Raghunath Das Goswami. Bhakhan Koraho Morgana, you feed my associates. You feed my associates. You feed my associates. Because there's a principle that we can at this point we can clearly understand that if you want the mercy of the Vaishnavas, then you feed them. You feed them. This is a fundamental principle of Krishna consciousness. Bhunte bojayate chaiva sadvidi priti lakshana. This is how you express your affection. And by accepting prasadam, accepting prasadam, you're also being affectionate. This is Sadvidi Priti Lokan, the symptoms of affection, is to offer prasadam, to feed a Vaishnava, and to accept that prasadam. And the most fundamental, this is the most fundamental item. There's others, dadati pratigrinati, giving gifts and accepting gifts. Bhunkte bhojayate, offering, feeding a Vaishnava and receiving prasadam from a Vaishnava, guyam akyati, pruchati, and then discussing confidentially. These are the ways that Vaishnavas intimately relate with each other. This type of interaction we should exclusively perform with Vaishnavas, giving gifts and accepting gifts, receiving prasadam and feeding them, and discussing confidentially. If you do that with materialistic people, you'll become polluted. Of course, we have our various responsibilities in the material world, so those things go on, but we minimize them as much as possible, and we maximize association with the Vaishnavas, particularly this prasad seva. You invite Vaishnavas, you feed them at home, you feed them in the temple, you serve prasadam in the temple, and you receive prasadam from the hands of a Vaishnava in the temple. Or you can receive an invitation and go to the home of a Vaishnava. So today, many associates of Lord Nityananda had all gathered there, and then he says, you feed us today, dahi chida-dahi. It can be arranged actually in a short period of time. Actually, we just at home here, my wife, when we had the festival, she asked me to bring the chida in the morning. I went and brought chida and in the morning, and then it takes 15 minutes to prepare this preparation. That doesn't take long. So this is Lord Nityananda's plan. Why this particular? Well, we can explain a little prelude. Why is he a thief? He's a thief because he's trying again and again to attain the shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he's not doing that but through the servants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is what Lord Nityananda means when he says he's a thief. You're just trying to go directly. You're trying to go directly, but you have to go through the servants. Have to go through the servants of the Lord. So in this way, Lord Nityananda, he's actually Adi Guru. He's so merciful. He's facilitating. He's creating a situation where Raghunath Das Goswami will get the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by serving the Vaishnavas. And he's telling him how to please the Vaishnavas, how to please me, how to please Lord Nityananda and his associates. You chida-dahi Mahotsav, you arrange everything, you feed them all. It means you have to satisfy everybody, of course. That's what it means. So many people are gathered there. And he's saying that to Raghunath Das because Raghunath Das is within his capacity. It's within his capacity. This is also the responsibility of the guru to understand what is the capacity of the disciple and give them an order, which is like a challenge, which will help bring out the full potential of the disciple. Just like in a month, we're going to Mangalore. We're going to have the opening of the ISKCON temple there. Now, that's a great achievement. That's a great achievement. And Spiritual Master, when he orders the devotees to open a temple, to build a temple, that's a very significant order. And it takes a lot of effort. The dedicated devotees, Namnishta Prabhu and his team, the brahmacharis, they're very dedicated. They're very dedicated. But the guru gives an order which actually consumes the whole life of the disciple. And in this way, the disciple attains perfection by complete absorption in Krishna consciousness. So he gave an appropriate task, which is appropriate for a person of the capacity of Raghunath Das Goswami, because he is wealthy and he can feed so many people, even simple things. So he had men. Raghunath had men. He says he sent his men to the village to purchase all the goods. What did they purchase? Chida-dahi, dugda, sandesh, chini kola. Text number 53. Chida-dahi, dugda, sandesh, chini kola, shab drabya, anayashe, chodike torila. So he brought all these items. He brought the chida, the chip rice. He brought the dahi, the dahi, that's yogurt. Dugda is milk. Sandesh, different sweets. Sandesh, I mean, so many different types of sweets. Chini is chini, sugar, and kola, bananas. Shab drabya, anayasha, bringing all of those items. Char dike, Darila, they had them all arranged. They're all set up. They're all set up there. So Mahotsav Nam Shuni Brahman Sajan Ashte Lagilo Lok Ashanka Ganon. Already there was Bahujan, already there was so many people accompanying Lord Nityananda, naturally. Now, Mahotsav Nam Shune, hearing that there was going to be a great festival, Mahotsav, Utsav is festival, Mahotsav is a great festival. Mahotsav Nam Shune, Brahmana Shajan, Ashte Lagila Loka Shankaganon, the Brahmana Shajan, the society of Brahmins in Panihati, that area now is still, there's so many temples there on the banks of Maganga in Panihati. Rajbari. Rajbari means the wealthy Hindu landholders from this time. This is Panihati is still there. It's an ancient city. I'm from a country, Australia. I'm from a country, Australia. It's such a new place. It's only 200 years settled. Before that was the Adivashi, the cities and everything. Only it's 150, 200 years old. It's a new place. Here, Bharat you have such cities, ancient cities, Varanasi, Kashi. It's thousands of years old. And Panihati, many of the cities here in Bengal, they're thousands of years old. Panihati and Katwa and Adi Shaptagram is still there. There's so many. Ambiketalna, the same names you'll find in the Gaulila 500 years ago, written by Kaviraj Goswami and Vrindavan Das Thakur. The same names, Nodia, Mayapur, Kuligagram, Katwa, Ambiketalna, Adi Shaptagram, Panihati, ancient place. And then that area, many Vaishnavas, many aristocratic Vaishnavas, and on the banks of the Ganga, many beautiful homes and ashrams. In fact, not far from there, you come a little closer to Kolkata, you'll find Ram Krishna Mission headquarters, Belur Math. It's in the same area. It's a very wonderful, very purified place. So many from ancient, for thousands of years, Bhagavad Bhakti has been cultivated in that area, Panihati. Thousands of years on the banks of the Ganga. It's just at the end of the Ganga, before the Ganga opens out before she enters into the Bay of Bengal, before Calcutta, the end of the Ganga. Adi Shaptagram. You travel a little further onwards, you come to the Kapil Ashram, Makar Shankranti, Kapil Ashram, the ashram of Kapil Muni, where the ancestors, Ashes, Bhagidati, all of those ancient leelas from the Puranas, from the Bhagavatam, there, same area. Maganga and Bongo Bhumi and Panihati. So the Brahmana Sajan, there's so many Brahman Vaishnavas in that area, so many. And they all came, hearing that there was a festival, Ashte Lagilo Loga Shankar gone on. So this time you couldn't count. It's not possible to count the number of people who had gathered at that time. The crowd was increasing more and more. So then he arranged, seeing this Raghunath, that he sent more from other villages to get more ingredients, requirements for the festival. He also brought 400 large earthen pots, 400 large earthen pots, 400. How do they brought them? They must have had, I don't know, carrying them. They had vans, they had wheels. So they must have had some type of conveyances to carry, maybe with ox carts or maybe on boats. 400 large earthen pots. And 5 to 7 very large, huge earthen pots. Of course, everything that was made of earth in those days. What a life! What a life! There were no steel pots. No steel pots. No gas line cooking. Just a few hundred years ago in India, what a place that the pots were all just made locally in the village. The lifestyle we have now, we have the big cities, we have the shopping mall, everything's there. Where it's produced, who knows? And it's all bought in big trucks and stored, and everything relies on petrol and transport and maintenance and electricity and everything. It's all artificial. It's all relying on petrol. And eventually petrol is going to run out. You know, it's a non-renewable resource, petrol. There's only so much oil. Eventually it's going to run out. Then what's going to happen? On the side of the road, rusted cars and buses. And we'll just be living in salvage, like junkyards of rusted cars and motorbikes and buses on the sides of the broken old roads. When that's going to happen, then no one's going to tell us that the oil is running out. No one's going to tell us that. Eventually, the last of it will be consumed by the military, because the weapons, you know, planes, bombs, so whatever is remaining will be consumed by government. There'll be wars over oil. There'll be wars over oil. But actually, we don't need these things. Can you imagine a life without petrol? But we don't need these things. So 500 years ago, they're just making the pots and the clay. And everything produced locally. Didn't have to have all of this transport going all over the place. So much petrol required. Take you here, transport the goods, the freight, bring things from one place to another. Didn't have to do that. Everything was just locally, Krishna providing everything. And locally, you just have to learn how to prepare it. Ishvashamedam Shavam Yatkincha. No, Om Punam Adaha Punamidam Punam Udachite, because he's the supreme complete. Punam Udachite, the complete. Everything that emanates from him is also complete. So actually, if you learn the process just from where you are, if you have land, you can survive happily with land and cows. And you don't need big cities. You don't need transport. You don't need petrol. You don't need electricity. Actually, Prabhupada, part of his mission was to establish such communities, self-sufficient communities. He was in 1968. Before, there's a handful of centers in America, and Prabhupada, they purchased a New Brindavan in West Virginia, 400 acres of rural, very rural place. In fact, it was 2 miles. The road ended. Had to walk through the forest for 2 miles to get to that homestead in New Brindavan. That's how remote that place was. So why did Prabhupada invest in such a property? So that devotees would live there. They would learn to survive on the land, producing their own food, growing their own clothes, producing their own food and making their own clothes, and a Gandhi on the spinning wheel, and building their own buildings from whatever materials are available on that property. So 7 very, very large earthen pots, very, very large earthen pots. Of course, on the self-sufficiency point, the point of self-sufficiency, why Prabhupada was ordering and personally investing in such projects and ordering his disciples to develop such projects. Well, Prabhupada's out of kindness, because Prabhupada knew what would happen. I mean, not just Prabhupada, so many people, they're aware that the oil is going to run out, and we have to learn how to live without petrol, without cars, without alternative energy sources are trying to be developed. But anyway, in the meantime, there could be, Prabhupada said, there will be collapse, the industrialized city, because everything is transported into the cities. People are living in huge condominium apartment buildings. They're not living on the land, and they're just going to the supermarket, all based, everything dependent on petrol. And that petrol becomes so expensive that you won't be able to live in the city. You'll have to return to the village. It'll be so expensive to live in cities, because petrol will become as it reduces, it'll become more and more expensive. Just imagine the havoc and the chaos of the city life. So therefore, Prabhupada is saying, before that happens, the breakdown of the modern system, before that happens, we should be established in our communities, huge communities, where we're completely providing. I mean, it happened at lockdown time. The government can just take everything away, and nothing you can do. And then we had our communities there where these things we survive. We don't need to. We're not dependent. But still, we haven't in ISKCON. We still can't reach that stage. Those of you who are inspired, you can take up that mission. Actually, I joined this movement. I was a young man, 19, 20 years old. Now I'm 60. I joined this movement. In the books, I saw the pictures of the young men that they were plowing the field with the ox in Australia. They were shaven head, plowing the field. And I thought, yeah, I want that. I want to live like that. I don't want this modern anyway, the requirement at the time in our movement was to preach in cities, so I never got a chance to live in the farm, but I was preaching in the cities for 40 years. But as a young man, if I had been required to go to the farm and farm and learn how to build buildings, and I would have done that as a young man. So the young generation take up this mission, become inspired. So big, large earthen pots and 400 smaller pots. In fact, there was the 400 smaller pots, but then there was even smaller pots again, which they served even now in Mayapur. Sometimes you can take prashadam on the leaf plate and a clay cup. When I was first coming to Mayapur, always prashadam was like that. Now they have paper plate and a plastic cup. And we have a huge mountain of plastic waste in Mayapur, a huge mountain. So what we're going to do with all the waste, the junk, plastic, all the plastic packets, everything comes in plastic packets and bottles, bottled water. But what are you going to do with the plastic? It's not biodegradable. It remains like that for thousands of years. Huge mountains of plastic. Of course, we're blind to that. We close our eyes, we don't see. But in the future, the city, well, what are we going to do with the rubbish? But actually, that clay pot, you can just make it in the village and put in the sun and a bake. You use it the next day, and then you just throw. And the leaf plate, banana leaf plate, you just throw. It's not plastic. And within a week or so, it's just all mulched back to earth. So intelligent, such a system. So Prabhupada wanted us to establish such communities, and you can see the logic in Prabhupada requesting that, because in the future there may not be a choice. Probably there won't be a choice. We should be ahead of the game. We should be ahead of the game. Be ready. And in that way, the whole of the world will come and want to live in our rural communities to get some shelter from that anarchy and havoc and the terrible civilization that we will end up with when everything's collapsing and falling apart. Then the people will be lining up and banging on the doors of our farm communities. Please let me in with my family. And if they follow our principles and worship Krishna, then they will be welcome. So in this way, so many of the clay pots were arranged, and then he began arranging the preparations. First of all, the chip rice was soaked in hot milk. Hot milk. Once again, they cook. You build the fire. You build the fire. Build the fire with the gobur, cow dung, and the wood available. So the cooking on the clay pot, and the milk is being boiled, and then all the chida is soaked, and then it's separated into two different containers. Half of it, one preparation, which was the boiled rice, the boiled chida. It's soaked in yogurt, and soaked in yogurt, and added the bananas and the sugar. And then in the other half was mixed with condensed milk. And then champakala, a special type of banana, was added, and then sugar and ghee and camphor. Gobur. So one pot had yogurt, it soaked chip rice, and it soaked in the boiled chip rice, and then soaked in yogurt with bananas and sugar. And the other preparation, it was the boiled chida, soaked in condensed milk with bananas, champakala, sugar, ghee, and camphor. And they're the two preparations. And in this way, we'll hear how they were distributed to all the Brahmins. So this particular topic we'll be discussing this week, and we'll discuss next week also. We're just about halfway through the whole Leela. So we'll carry on, and we'll see how the prasadam was distributed and the arrangement that Lord Nityananda Prabhu made, and what happened when the prasadam was being distributed at the chida-dahi Mahotsav. We will discuss that next week. So are there any questions on the topics discussed today?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare
Yes.
Krishna. Prabhuji, why that particular items were asked, chida-dahi, is there any significance? Kind of a picnic feast?
Yeah. Yes, it's a picnic feast. And Nityananda Prabhu will say, because next week when we're discussing Raghav Pandit, whose house is just near the Ganga in Panihati. We'll discuss a little bit about that next week. He comes and he's got the Anna Prasadam, the rice, the sabji, everything cooked. And he says to Lord Nityananda, we've cooked and it's all waiting there. And Lord Nityananda says, no, he says that Gopajati Ami, Bahut Gopagan Songe, I'm a cowherd boy. And I'm associates of all cowherd boys. Amra Shukpa Pulin Bojan Ronge. We get happiness having a picnic like this on the banks of the Ganga because it reminds us of Vrindavan. Reminds us of Vrindavan. So I'll come in the evening and take the cooked rice and all that at your house. But now I want a picnic. So yes, this is the nature, and it's hot. It's hot. I mean, we're having a heat wave here in India. Yesterday, day before, a little cooler, rained in Mayapur. But this is like super hot time of the year, and it's the ideal preparation. It's great. The cooling, the mangoes, the fruit, the bananas, and the yogurt and the chip rice. It's so cooling, and we'll hear how they're having great fun on the picnic. A puja, Amrashukpai, a Pulin Bojan Ronge. Pulin Bojan means a picnic on the banks of the river. Pulin Bojan Ronge. And we'll hear intimately, it reminds us of Vrindavan. So thank you, Namnishna Prabhu, for sharing that point about the style of the picnic. And for that reason, Nityananda says to him, you feed us in this way, because then we'll be happy.
And one more thing was, it's called a Danda Mahotsav. We wanted to hear from you.
Yeah, it's Danda Mahotsav because the punishment, it's called the punishment. Danda is punishment. The sannyasis, the sanya Danda. Another meaning of Danda is a punishment. They have to carry that for 10 years. It's a type of, it's a burden. In this way, everyone sees he's a fully surrendered soul and he's always remembering, we're carrying the Danda. Danda means a punishment. You're carrying the Danda. And Lord Nityananda later, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got the Danda, he broke the Danda. Danda Banga Nodi. I think perhaps we went when we were in Puri. Did we go to that place? We discussed that story. I think we did. Danda Banga, because he said, no, my Prabhu, he's not going to be punished like that. He's not going to have to carry you for like that. No, you're getting rid of you. So Danda Mahotsav, because Raghunath Das is punished. He's punished. It's all metaphorical. It's all poetic. His punishment is that he's being ordered to do the Vaishnav Seva to satisfy the Vaishnavas. And we'll see that Lord Chaitanya is so pleased that he comes to the festival. Lord Chaitanya is in Puri now, but he comes in a subtle form.
And they say a particular reason he was being punished.
Pardon?
He was being punished for a particular reason.
Yeah, the reason was, we kind of touched on it, that he was trying to achieve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy directly. So now Lord Nityananda is explaining that you go through the Vaishnavas, and we'll see this happen through Lord Nityananda's mercy, through the Nityananda's associates' mercy. Then Lord Chaitanya will come. We'll see that he's coming, and he's also accepting the food that Raghunath Das prepares. So this is the in this way he's taught. This is the punishment.
Adi Deva, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranams, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Pranams, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, what is the meaning of Panihati and why is the place called as Panihati?
Maybe I'll find out next week. Let you know about that. Panihati. Find out. Maybe it's something to do with elephants. Panihati. So we'll find out about that next week. I'll let you know.
And how far is it from Mayapur and Kolkata, Prabhuji? Panihati?
It's closer to Kolkata. In fact, Prabhupada, it's about 40. We have a center in Kolkata, a new town. A new center in Kolkata. We have huge property there, Kolkata. We're acquiring more. So I was there recently, a beautiful, huge property in Salt Lake, not far from airport. It's a new town, new Kolkata, huge property we have. So from there, it's less than an hour. It's about 40 minutes to Panihati. It's outskirts of Kolkata. Now pretty much outskirts of Kolkata. So it'd take you an hour or so from Kolkata to get there. 2-3 hours when you're from Mayapur. Does ISKCON celebrate like this now in Panihati? Yes, I was fortunate to be in Panihati during this festival. It's very traditional. This festival has been going on for hundreds of years. since the time of Lord Nityananda. And that's why there's so many people. They block all the roads. There are no vehicles. It's only you're going to walk through the whole village area there and all the banks of the Ganga. And so many, tens of thousands of people everywhere. You can't move. There's so many people. I was there a few years ago. Nitya Parishta Shila Bhakti Charu Shami Maharaj was also there. We were able to take bath with him in the Ganga and hear him discuss the glories of Nityananda Prabhu at that place. And there's other pastimes at that place. Nityananda Prabhu, he visited on several occasions in Chaitanya Bhagavat, mentions that he spent 3 months in Panihati, 3 months. And he says, Kaviraj Vrindavan Thakur says, what he would do in 1 hour would take years to describe. It was so exciting. Lord Nityananda's Leela in Panihati. And there's Raghava Bhavan also, which is a famous temple, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is eternally present there. So the question was, is this festival still conducted? Yes, it's a huge festival. The local Vaishnavas, the local the Hindu people, they all come. It's been hundreds of years. It's the most famous festival in that area. As I mentioned, many jomidar, many ashrams and big palatial buildings along the Ganga, and they're all performing this festival. They're all many groups of Vaishnavas together. They're making their chida-dahi. It's simple. And the recipe is here in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You'll see along the banks of the Ganga. I took a walk. And many places they're offering, and the deities of Gauranga Nitai, and they're offering those items, and they're doing kirtan, and it's a hot season. It's a very ecstatic festival. Some tasty feast is there. No, it's feast is there. Only this item, the chida-dahi. No, Nityananda Prabhu, he didn't take the other items. They were offered, he didn't take them. Only this item is there, only these two. We do in Mayapur also, on the banks of the Ganga here. Some feasts.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Prabhu.
So I'll find out about the meaning of Panihati. I'll let you know next week.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Prabhu.
Shall we take the question from Shobha?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Hare Krishna. The question is not regarding today's class, Prabhu. Just I wanted to ask you last week only. The thing is, I heard this dham aparad. When we go to some dham, they say that you should not stay for more than 3 or 4 days. But I didn't get what kind of a dham aparad can be, could happen like. So what is this, Prabhu, and how we can avoid it if you want to stay there for more than a week or anything to like Vrindavan?
Well, yeah, you have to be strict in Krishna consciousness in the holy dham. In the Navadip Dham Mahatmya, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explains that Anna Tirthe Aparadi Dandira Bhajan Navadipa Aparadi Sharai Marjan. He says Anna Tirthe Aparadi Dandira Bhajan, that if you commit offenses in the other Tirtha Stan, in a dham means the appearance place of the Lord. We have Vrindavan Dham, Jagannath Puri Dham, Mayapur Dham. There are other dhams, but they're the principal dhams for us. So one has to be very careful in his Krishna consciousness, in their practicing Krishna consciousness. And therefore, Vrindavan Dham, you have to be very perfected. You have to be very strict in your Krishna consciousness in Vrindavan. Offenses there, the results will be, the offenses, results of offenses will be increased if they perform the Vrindavan Dham. However, he says, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Sri Chaitanya avatar baro bilokon aparad shataya jiv labe premdan, that the special feature of the Sri Chaitanya avatar, Bishesh Lokon, the special characteristic, aparad shatay jiv labe premdan. Even the offender is delivered. Even the offender gets prema, as is the case of Jogai Madhai. Jogai Madhai, they attacked Lord Nityananda, and they got prema. He got love of God. Because he's Odar Jadam, he's so merciful. Because everyone's an offender in the Kali Yuga. Everyone's aparadi, everyone's unqualified in Kali Yuga. So the Mayapur Dham, offenses are overlooked. So how do we overcome? Well, you can stay in Mayapur. That's visit Mayapur, because offenses are not considered in Mayapur. And that's how merciful is Gauranga Nidaya. But in the other holy dhams, one should be very careful. Unless one is One shouldn't remain there in a touristy holiday type mood in a holy dham. So stay a short time and do pilgrimage in the association of Vaishnavas, and that's it. But if you want to stay a long time, then Mayapur is recommended, because aparad shattayo jiv labhe prem dan. In Mayapur, the offenders are also get prema. Okay, thank you. So we'll carry on. We'll carry on. Well, it's up to the Vaishnava how they deal with the different devotees, how they instruct, how they punish, how they guide different Vaishnavas, different circumstances, different cases. It depends. Vaishnava kriya mudda bujatena pigyatena bujaya. It's sometimes not easy to understand the behavior of an advanced Vaishnava. Vaishnava kriya mudda bigyate na bujaya. Even an advanced person, even a learned person may be confused about the behavior of a Vaishnava. So maybe different the way they deal with people. So we'll carry on next week. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
And we are pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you Prabhuji. Thank you very much Prabhuji.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat pranam.